In 2003, I lived in Berlin as part of Tom Sachs's Nazis installation at the Deutsche Guggenheim. I was 28 years old, and I had a social life there. And through friends, I met a bunch of Americans who were living in Berlin at the time. This was 2 years after September 11th, 2001, and I began filming these interviews on September 11th, 2003.
Hi, Darius.
Mm-hmm.
So how long have you lived here?
I've lived here 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
And where did you come from?
I lived in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So you came directly from...
Right. Is the camera on?
Yes.
Okay. Why are you doing this project?
We're doing this because, I don't know if you were eavesdropping when I was talking to Paul, but I'm here for a museum exhibition just completely independent of this project, and my brother and I are a filmmaking team.
Mm-hmm.
I knew when I came that I was going to be here for 4 months.
Yeah.
And the thing that immediately hit me when I was here was the number of Americans that are in Berlin, coupled with the fact that I don't feel like anyone, including myself, knows about that. And I'm just trying to figure out like what it is. Is it just because it's such a cool town and that there's so much going on and you can feel a little bit more free, or is there something more, or whatever?
Yeah, what's your background as a filmmaker?
I went to college to be a writer.
Which college?
I went to William and Mary in Virginia.
Yeah.
And I was a writer for 2 years, and then I started working for Tom Sachs, this artist. And
What kind of writing did you do?
I wrote for a children's science magazine.
Uh-huh.
And I wrote the science experiments every month.
Yeah.
Build all these experiments, and that's how I got the job.
Mm-hmm.
But
So you were a science writer?
yeah. So, but I didn't know
Okay,
anything
so
about science, you know.
Yeah, you didn't know anything about science. Did you know anything about writing?
I don't think so. I mean, I think writing's the hardest thing. But because there goes your mic. Can you guys help me out? But yeah, I think writing's the hardest thing because all you need is a pencil. Like all these things, like filmmaking, where you have all of these layers of kind of paper mache to work with.
Paper mache meaning?
You know how paper mache, you start with wire, and then you put the paper mache on,
Yeah.
and then you paint it.
Mm-hmm.
So you have all of these layers that if you fuck up on the first layer, maybe you're not good with the wire and you're great at the paper mache part, you can kind of make up for it.
What's the wire and paper mache a metaphor for?
Just because I realized that when one Christmas I was too poor to buy presents, so I just made everybody paper mache lamps.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Where are you from?
I'm from Connecticut, but I live
Where in Connecticut?
New London. Yeah.
Yes, I'm from Connecticut too. Actually, yes, I grew up in New Haven.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, I know New London. You're talking like nuclear submarines and bullshit like that. And what was that? There was some stupid movies that were Mystic Pizza.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Okay.
Julia Roberts debut.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, in my film background is, I got a box full of videotapes from when we were kids, home movies.
Yeah.
And the iMac DV came out, and the Sony TRV-8 came out the same year, and I had a big tax return that year, and I spent my money on that in order to digitize and edit those videos from when we were kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just started, shooting stuff and playing around, and I think it's just something I'm really interested in.
Okay. So you found all these Americans here in Berlin, and
You're one of them.
Yeah, obviously. You wanted to know why there were all these Americans here in Berlin because of.
I just want to know why.
Why? No.
No.
Why don't you know about it?
I know. Why don't we?
No, yeah, okay. Well, I'll leave it at that for the moment.
Okay.
Okay.
So why are you here?
Why am I here? Because I grew up in New Haven. Do you know New Haven? No, I mean, really.
No, I don't know.
No, not really. Like, if you know, Yeah, it's Southern Connecticut. It's like Yale University. Okay. Like Yale University is like this Ivy League like think tank thing. Okay. I came up during the period.
We lost it again. So when maybe we can see. Just like this. Well, sort of hide this in there. Secret agent style. There you go.
Okay. I came up during the period of 1970s, which is like the Black Panther Party. Black Panther Party, are you aware of that?
I don't know enough about it.
Are you aware of the fact that there was you're from Connecticut, like how old are you?
20.
20. I'm sorry. Okay, like in the 1970s, 1970, okay, there was like this huge demonstration in New Haven for Bobby Seale and a number of other members of the Black Panther Party. There was a murder trial. Okay. Bobby Seale was accused of giving the orders to kill this police informant. Okay. And he was freed. All right. But you have to understand that New Haven at that particular time attracted like a lot of like rather interesting people. Jean Genet spoke there during the May Day rally on the New Haven Green, 1970. Okay, I was like a student in this sordid prep school, okay, that no longer exists. That particular summer, I learned a lot of things about American culture, American politics, Panther Party, subversive organizations, things like that. Subversive organizations, I should add, that are of interest to left German culture. All right? I didn't get along with a lot of those organizations because I came up in a background of artists and intellectuals and bullshit like that, right? And as a result, the whole thing was like, like you were supposed to have this hive mind about, certain kinds of subversive or leftist thinking. Okay. I didn't conform to that. I was like independent, which is an American thing, in terms of like the early guys who rebelled against the British. This is they said, fuck the British. We're going to be independent from them. I in turn, I became very cynical about America, the United States, in the early 60s, because I'm a child of the 60s. The civil rights movement, watching the Southern sheriffs and things like that beating up on black people who basically wanted to be able to enter like washrooms, bathrooms, to sit next to white people. That didn't mean shit to me, but personally at the time, It was just the fact that people needed to see this, you know, that there had to be like equality, you know. That's the first thing. All right, like there was a certain cynicism involved. Because of my involvement with the Black Panther Party, because of my involvement with like the Youth International Party, the Yippies, okay, you know, Jerry Rubin, I hate Jerry Rubin, Abby Hoffman, who I love. I was very cynical about American culture and politics, okay. Because of my involvement, my telephone was bugged by the FBI, the New Haven Police Department, things like that, you know, because, you know, like as a high school student, I would, you know, like organize workshops and things, you know, to educate people about what we thought was going on in the culture. All right. At the age of 15, because of the cultural and political situation in the United States, I wanted to leave. I didn't have the means to do that. I didn't know where I was going to go. The place, you know, at the time I thought to go was Amsterdam. I don't like Amsterdam. I've been there now since I've been living here in Europe. I thought, you know, Amsterdam was a place to go because of like the drugs and the sex and blah, 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 you know. I mean, I'm 15 years old, you know, pre-puberty and like, you know, I want to, you know, get me some and get high, right? Anyway. So that's where I thought I'd eventually end up. For a number of years, you know, I lived the so-called bohemian life. I've done some things.
Like what?
I've published 3 books. One called Negrophobia, another called That's Blaxploitation, and the last called Voodoo Stew. Okay, I'm a writer. I've been able to support myself up until about 2-3 years ago from my writing. Okay, after September 11th, all of that went down the toilet.
Why?
Because the people who were spending a lot of money in big magazines, you know, the advertising for big magazines like fell out. That's what pays the salaries of freelance writers. Okay, you know, they stopped doing that. And so as a result, because that money wasn't there, I wasn't able to get, you know, work as a freelance journalist.
So it wasn't that you were, was it that you were writing subversive pieces and that's why they didn't want, they figured they'd lose the advertisements?
I don't know. I mean, I could speculate.
Were you writing subversive things or?
Of course, you know, in terms of corporate context, all right? Because those are the people who rule culture right now. There is no pop culture in America anymore. There is no popular culture. I mean, it's all like corporate culture. It's like, you know, whatever that stupid shit is on MTV and, you know, Survivor and whatever spin-off shows they've come up with. I don't know. I have not seen American television since I've left. Well, no, that's not true.
Can you give me an example? I hate to interrupt you, but Can you give me examples of things that you were writing then that you were living off of the market?
I wrote a book called Negrophobia. I wrote a book called
No. I mean, as a freelance writer for
I wrote a piece. Okay, the last piece I wrote was on Johnny Depp. He did a movie called From Hell, which they shot in Prague. Okay, and I went into a whole thing about like fascism and concentration camps and American relationships to that. Being a black child in the 60s, like finding out about concentration camps and like, you know, laws, you know, things on the books of the United States that, you know, presaged like the Patriot Act, you know, being put into being put into concentration camps if you were subversive, you know, blah blah blah, things like that, right? Yeah, I mean, the things that I do, what I do is satire. I do satire. I make fun of societies and ideas.
It's okay. Don't lose your rhythm, because you're really on fire. I'm gonna have a smoke with you. Oops. Alright, so they're thrown out of the record shop. So what the hell were we just talking about? Oh, we were talking, the last thing we talked about was the last piece that you wrote.
Yeah.
Before the whole fallout.
Yeah.
So after that, now what have you been doing?
Is the camera on?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. You know, like I just finished off a book for a small German Marxist publisher here about Christmas. Again, it's highly satirical about current American politics.
Do you find that the marketplace is interested in that here? I know I talk from an American point of view, but
the thing is that Germans are far more interested here, which isn't necessarily much because it's a small market, than the American market. But then again, the American market doesn't read. You know, they don't buy books. You know, like publishing, New York publishing house wisdom is that, you know, like first published novels don't earn back their advance, you know. So there are like tons of books that are published, tons of books that are great, that aren't read. You know, they like wither and die. All right. One of the reasons why I moved here, it's not the central reason why I moved here, but one of the reasons is that I know people read here and they discuss. That's a big difference for me. You know, they discuss on a human and communal level as opposed to a media level. You know, it's not about like what the collective hive mind of public media in the US is thinking. It's like individuals speaking collectively, you know, which can be difficult, you know, if you are on the bad end of that. But it can also be very rewarding. I mean, That's what I like about living in Berlin. Okay, when you're talking about living outside the U.S. and being in Berlin, Berlin is very different from the rest of Germany. You know, I wish that wasn't true, but it is. You know, like if I go outside of Berlin, my experience is going to be very different.
Like how?
In terms of having to deal with stupid like issues involving racism. I don't have those issues when I am in Berlin. Okay, and I'm only saying that for Berlin because like I'm talking about Berlin now because we're in Berlin. But there are cities like, you know, Hamburg and Hamburg, Bremen, you know, which are very different. They're northern German cities. You know, I don't have those kinds of problems. I have like, you know, ideological problems there, but I don't have like problems in terms of dealing with racism. If I were an African or an Arab or something like that, it might be another story. But as an American, although I'm black, I don't have those problems.
Right.
You know,
So
where
in Hamburg, I'm sorry to interrupt. In Hamburg and in Bremen, you don't have them, or you do?
no, I don't have them.
But
No, I
okay.
don't have those problems. I don't have those problems. No, Northern Germans are generally considered to be different from Southern Germans. Southern Germans are strange in the head, or at least in terms of my experience. Okay, Southern Germans, if they're left, are strange in the head. Possibly Southern Germans who are not left, who have not encountered in, you know, my social dealings, are racist. Like, I mean, basically, the reputation that Germany has for being like this racist, Jew-killing, like, you know, nation and blah, 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 is something that belongs to Austria. Those people are not right. They are incorrect, okay? No, I mean, I've just like had horrible experiences in Austria, you know.
Can you think of any for us?
I mean, I'm exaggerating for the camera. Basically, my experiences are like stupid conversations about race, stupid incidences on the street, you know, like when I walk with my girlfriend who who is not of the same race as I am. Okay, you know, she's tall and whatever. You know, they see us together, I get like these bizarre looks from them, which are clearly racist. I realized one night there's this particular park in Vienna where all the heroin addicts hang out. Now, like if you're mugged by a heroin addict and you defend yourself, you would think that, you know, you would be seen as in the right. But because like all the heroin addicts in the fucking park were white, right? have problems. You know, like they would come up with some shit, right? I mean, it's that was like one of the things I realized about Austria. You know, like if I like went off on like one of the junkies, man, who came off on me, it's like, fuck you. You know, don't fuck with me and don't talk to me, whatever. You know, I would be in the wrong. That's how, like, Austrian police think. Okay. I mean, that was the thing. I've had that. Goodbye. Take care. Cheers.
Thank you, guys.
Have a nice night.
Yeah. And it's just obvious.
So in Berlin, it's not an issue.
Nah, it's not an issue
Did
at
you know
all.
that immediately, or was it something that?
No, it's not. You know, immediately. I mean, come on. I like grew up in America. All right. I mean, in America, race is a fucking issue. All right. Race is not an issue in Europe. As stupid as that might sound to you people, it's true. Okay, which is why all your like black entertainers came over here and had a career way back at the turn of the century. Okay. Yes, they have problems with exoticism and bullshit like that, but race isn't really an issue. If, of course, you're an American.
So when we left off, you were talking about I think the last decade we left was maybe the 60s. And you said you moved here 5 years ago. What happened between those 35 whatever years?
That's a long story.
Okay, well, we got plenty of tapes.
Yeah, you got plenty of tape and it's cheap. But anyway, let me see. What happened, you know, in high school, I was arrested for burning a flag. Okay, no, I come from that generation. I was arrested for burning a flag. There was a lot of noise about that. I went to an alternative college named Friends World College. It was a Quaker school. And then I moved to New York City, you know, with the intention of being a writer. The idea being that I was going to survive as a writer. You know, nothing else. I didn't leave myself any options. I met a bunch of other writers. I met publishers. I met editors. And eventually...
So I apologize. I'm sorry.
No problem. And I eventually began a career as a writer. I mean, this was after 10 years of being homeless in the 80s. Okay, I wrote some things for the Village Voice, a publication I do not like now. I wrote lots of surreal screeds, a lot of pornography, and you know, a lot of stuff, you know, that combined surrealism and pornography that had like a political meaning, you know. Because of the pornography and the politics, you know, because of the pornography, people miss the politics. Okay. My life in New York, as it's apparent from the other interviews I've like heard you do this evening, you know, it's like, you know, it was about like trying to pay the rent in New York, trying to live in New York, you know. I was doing work that I did not believe in, I didn't care about, you know, to pay my fucking rent. What's that about? You know, the thing I came to, I've written about this. I wrote about the first time I became aware of Berlin, you know, which was a May Day riot. And the impression I got over American television, despite like American television, American media, was that, you know, these people were about something, you know, they were committed, you know. And when my first novel was published, I was brought here to Germany to promote it. You know, it was published here in Germany. And I met a lot of people who made me feel like intellectually alive, felt like a human being. They treated me with respect. You know, there weren't like racial issues, which can piss me off, but I've learned how to deal with them.
Can I just go back?
Yeah, you can go back. You can.
Before I came here, I read Understanding Power by Noam Chomsky, and he mentions, just very quickly, he mentions the Quakers. And the impression I got was that he agreed with a lot of what they stood for. And now, do you think, and I don't know anything about the Quakers, but just that was a kind of a key word for me. Now, do you think that your college experience, it was a Quaker college? Do you think that woke you up to be more in touch with, like, I don't know what, to question the American system, or to put some kind of esteem into these instincts that you had when you were, 15 and burning flags and so forth? Can you talk about that a little, or?
The Quakers?
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily like, because I was like sympathetic to the Quakers, and because the school that I went to, it was like the Quaker religion was not an important issue for them. The issue for them was like training a culture of activists, it was like, for them, what was important in terms of your education was that if things were not right in the society or culture that you were living in, that you would feel a responsibility to change that. Okay. Apparently, and then I don't know about Quakers because I never went to their like religious things. I maybe like went once, the entire time that I was associated with the college. Their whole thing was training activists, people who had an education in whatever field that they were interested in, and would apply them to social problems. That was like because of my experience in high school, with the Panthers. That was cool to me. That was where I wanted to go. You could do that in the States at that particular time. You can do that now,
No one's listening now.
I understand that, which is why I'm fucking here, which is why I can publish my work here.
And people are listening here.
Yes.
So what, I don't want to be like too big picture, but do you feel that there's any kind of hope for America other than...
Of course there's fucking hope for America. Well, you think this fucking chimpanzee that is running your government is going to last? No. I mean, there's too many fucking no. America is a great country. We've produced too much stuff culturally, you know, that the entire world like responds to and imitates. You know, these people are not going to last. They're not going to last.
So
If they last, there's something wrong with you. But
is there anything that
yeah, I'm like,
interesting-
oh,
is there anything interesting going on in America? That
I have no
you
fucking
see
idea.
Seed as
I ha-
something that may happen.
I mean, you know, there are like these political groups or whatever, you know, these, and I don't know. I have not been in America. I've been reading like some of the press, I read like Alternate and the Village Voice and New York Press and like all these like alternative news source. I don't know what's going on in the United States. I know like from things that I get from people that I correspond with via email that they're angry and that they're doing things, you know. I mean, come on, all right? We produce Elvis Presley, for God's sakes, all right? You think some asshole like George Bush Jr. is going to destroy America? No, People all over the world, respond to Elvis Presley. They dance to this man, okay?
I'm happy to hear you say that because the kids that we've been talking to today have they have a very kind of, I would say, a helpless kind of mentality about the whole thing. Like, I left because I didn't want to contribute to that mess, and I didn't feel like there was something I could do. But
that's another problem. That's a problem of like the left, the fact that these people have not been educated. They don't know the fucking history of like activists in like the US, you know? I mean, it's like you talk to like European leftists, okay? They know their fucking history. You people do not know your history. Learn that. You know, there are like great people. There are great things that have happened. You know, despite how hopeless things might seem. All right? I mean, I've been able to apply that to my own personal situation. Okay? I don't live anywhere at the moment. You know? I don't have any fucking money. I can't, it's like I'm in a fucked up situation, okay? But it's like you're confronted with death, okay? You don't have any money, you don't have anywhere to live. You have, say you have AIDS, all right? You learn how to adjust to that situation, and you do not, under any circumstances, give up hope, regardless of what is going on in your life, Because if you do, man, you're like surrendering to those like evil forces that are undermining your fucking culture, your life. Like what makes like America great. All right. I talk a lot of bullshit about America and about how fucked up it is. But I believe in that. They're great things. Like Little Richard, okay? Rock and roll. Rock and roll is a great thing. make you people happy, tap dancing, all that stuff. You have a great culture.
But what about beyond the culture?
What culture? Beyond, what do you mean?
Beyond the cultural great things.
Politically, we have great food, but that's culture too. You know, I can't find fried chicken in Europe. Yes, thank you.
So what do you say to the kids who are here now? Because you're the oldest person. You're the only black person I think that we've talked to, and you're the oldest person that we've talked to, and we've already heard about. I mean, we were gonna, we wanted the black point of view. We have that, and we need like the shaman point of view.
I'm sorry, I'm not a shaman. All right, I'm not like
But you're
trying
older
to be.
than us. I mean, you.
What? Old. Look, I see that's a whole other thing you don't understand in terms of like how like the culture works. You know, it's like you grow up in the culture. You know, you still feel like you're 15 years old when you're like 50. All right.
But you have so much more to go with. You have so much more to work with.
Yeah. Okay. The thing I need to say is that like fuck that stupid opportunist bullshit in terms of like getting swallowed up by MTV, you know?
No, I mean the kids here.
Yeah, that's the same fucking thing. All right, Berlin is easy. Yeah. Berlin, I mean, it's like you've done New York, and I've done New York. Yeah. All right, I have done New York. All right. Okay, I am. Yes, I will say this. I am the best fucking reader, spoken word artist, if you prefer, that city has ever seen. All right? To like go the MTV route to try and turn yourself into a fucking commodity is bullshit. You know, be a fucking artist. You know, be about something. You know, an artist is like about revolutionary change, whatever side of the coin you might find yourself on, right or left. Okay? Because I know a lot of you like talk a lot of pretentious like bullshit about being leftist, and you're fucking fascist. You know, you're about the money. You're about the money and you're about control. You know, which is again why I left you. I mean, basically we were performing in these spaces that were filled with junkies and cokeheads and alcoholics and whatever who would harass us. Okay. And so we had this, we developed this style of reading that commanded their attention. Okay. So that they would listen to us so we could get through our shit. Right. Mm-hmm. That particular style was imitated and then transformed into the New York spoken word style, you know, like New Yorican and all that other bullshit. All right.
Okay, terrific, man. Thank you. That was really valuable. It was really good. Glad to talk to you.
No problem.
All right, so I guess we gotta leave you now because we're opportunistic capitalist bastards.
Yeah, I understand. Mm-hmm.
But it's very cool. Let me just take this from you. I need you. I've never met anyone affiliated with the Black Panther. Been like
this place is like filled with them. You don't know the story, man.
Thank you, man.
Let the cops show up.
I'll vouch for you.